All right, Gulf Coast independent wrestling fans, we're back. Front Row Fanatics, continuing our review of Ultimate Wrestling's Mayhem show, graced with the presence of X Factor champion Brutal Joe Gibson. We are now going to do our match of the night, rate the show, and then continue on with what other fascinating discussion we decide to do, and the champ will allow us to ask him. So, take it away, Internet.
All right, I guess first we'll do match of the night.
All right.
I don't know. You want to go first?
I don't care.
Go ahead, man.
All right. Well, for me, match of the night was El Scariachi and Robin Golfin. Nah! No, I knew the brutal one was fixing to bust me in the head when he heard that.
That was actually my pick, was El Scariachi.
Oh, so I was going to get hit for ripping your pick off. Anyway, to me, this boiled down to Brutal Joe Gibson, Suicidal Soldier, BTY, and Brian Cage. I'm going to have those both co-match of the night. Two awesome matches by three talented guys and one yesterday's news piece of crap, Brian Cage, who somehow miraculously got a win. I don't know. You still suck. I still hate your guts. But I'm going to give you the privilege of being in a match of the night that you actually earned instead of getting your ass beat by Joe or kicked in the face by Death Row or however tossed over the rails like you got on Shot of the Week. Not by your ability, but just by being a piece of fodder for somebody else.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Brian Cage, I got something for you. Oh!
All right, I'm going to give match of the night, and not because he's sitting here, but I'm going to give match of the night to Brutal Joe Gibson. I mean, it was a phenomenal match. Props to Suicidal Soldier, but this showed that two contrasting styles can put on a great 5-star match. And I'm going to give runner-up to BTY, Colby Godwin, and Brian Cage.
Joe, do you care to rate match of the night?
Well, you already took my pick for El Scariachi and Robin Golfin. Anytime to see the contrasting styles of old-school Lucha Libre in the days of El Santo and a tiny black man. Who could argue with that? But in all seriousness, if I had to pick a match that I thoroughly enjoyed, I'm just going to go ahead and say, because I've been in the ring with the guy, so I know the amount of pain and punishment that has been bestowed upon this kid, was probably Death Row and the Black Wolf. For two reasons, like I said, one being because I know what Death Row can bring.
Oh yeah.
And secondly, anytime I get to see the Gimp get owned is a good day for me.
Well, you heard it once again. That's more of the brutal truth from Brutal Joe. So,
Shades of Vinny Vega. Wow.
Okay. I guess now we're going to rate the show. I'm going to give this show an even 8. The second half carried the show for me. It started out a little slow. El Scariachi, Robin Golfin was decent. What else do we have? Oh yeah, the Mini Maze, the loser weight, out there in the Amish Assassin, and the man boob rubbing thing, that just creeped me out, So that I had to recover from that. Fortunately, we had the quality wrestling in the second half of the show to bring it up. I'm going to give it an 8.
All right, I'm going to give it an 8.2 for basically the same reasons. Even though I will say Amish Assassin's showing greater improvement as he progresses, coming back from that knee injury. But I'm going to give it a solid 8.2.
Joe, care to rate the show? Or
Well, any match, or any Ultimate Wrestling show, that doesn't have me on the card is at least a standard 5.
Wow.
Well, that's true. I mean,
Put Brian Cage on the card brings it down to a 4.5. Add Death Row puts it to 6.25. But the fact that I was on the card, mowing down yet some more competition, I have to give it a 12.37.
Wow.
all right,
Off the
you heard
scale.
it. Off the charts from Brutal Joe Gibson. And who are we to argue with the brutal one? I'm not going to.
I'm not either.
Okay.
How are we doing on time? And okay.
All right, dude.
Well, we'll go ahead and ask Brutal Joe a few questions. Now, you said how long have you been wrestling for Ultimate Wrestling now?
Ultimate Wrestling, probably about 3 years now.
Right. And in that time, you've held just about every title there is to hold.
Just about. And while I've got you here for 3 more minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and say that now that I'm a 2-time X Factor champion, the youngest heavyweight champion in Ultimate Wrestling,
Right.
Because quite frankly, let's just go ahead and say that most wrestlers in the area are pretty much on their way out of the door anyway. So when you get some fresh talent in there, boosts the credibility of the belts by tenfold. But that's another discussion. I won't do the shoot interview today. But now I've got, now that I've got this, I'm going to defend this belt until I lose it, which puts me as #1 contendership going into the heavyweight title. However, no pun intended, there's also an X factor involved with this, because if I win the tag team titles, the belts I haven't won yet, that would make me Ultimate Wrestling's first Grand Slam champion. And to me, that's a double whammy for me, because not only do I get to hold some titles that I haven't held before, but I also hold another title as being Ultimate Wrestling's first Grand Slam champion. So it's a twofer in the book of Joe.
Do you have any particular partner in mind while this goal of being the Grand Slam champion is formulating within your mind?
Well, to tell you the truth, the brutal truth, as some people put it, when you're on top, you don't have too many friends.
This is true.
You are either in this business to make friends or make money. With that being said, obviously you know what path I chose. I have a few cats in mind. Don't know if they'll take me up on the offer. But that's also based on what they've got going on in their lives at that time. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep, mum's the word on that. And just keep in mind, I've got some ideas on some guys that I might want to tag up with. But right now I've got a lot on my plate defending this belt and just getting some things set straight in my career path here at Ultimate.
Now, wouldn't it be something if you could hold on to this title as long as Carlos D'Angelo had? I mean, is that like a goal, or are you just going to let it ride like it is? I mean, Carlos held it for almost a year.
Yeah, I've got friends in high places too, so I have a feeling that I'll be holding this belt for quite some time. And unlike Carlos, I respect the guy, but I'll have some pretty epic matches that people are going to remember my title defenses and not just be like, oh yeah, that's the guy with the belt. And Carlos, there's an open contract. You want the match? Let's have it.
Well, we got to see if he's going to survive death row first.
This is true. Well, with that being said, we're getting the high sign. We're going to take a break here and come back and continue our conversation with X Factor champion Brutal Joe Gibson. So we'll be right back. Stop laughing, producer.